Hello community, I hope you are doing good. In this discussion we will see what is user environment and how we will get the user environment data. And in case you missed previous discussion about how to use special command set, please check, link is given in the description. If you want to learn more about Odoo, you can visit the Weblands channel. Under the home screen you can see Odoo 17-18 development tutorial. Right now we are working on this playlist. If you are a beginner and want to learn from the beginning, you can visit this playlist because this is the main playlist and those are the topic wise sub playlist available. Alright, so let's back to our main topic, guys. If you didn't subscribe this channel, please subscribe, it will help me a lot. Plus you will also get the latest notification about upcoming sessions. So the question is, what is user environment and how we can get the data, right? So let's say if you log in as an administrator user, as a super user, or as a normal user, right? So based on that, Odoo automatically have that information, okay? Based on the user. So it will help you to do some operations, okay? So here I'm trying to give you some basic examples so you will understand the user environment, right? So here let's say I'm logged in as a administrator. So you can see this is the Michelle admin, right? Here if I'm doing some operations here, right, whether like let's say I'm using here multi-company or a single company, right? I have a single company access rights or multi-company access rights. What is the language right now I'm using here? Then after, what is the specific user I'm using actually, like what is that record set, what is the ID of that user, right? Is it the administrator or is it the super user? Or let's say if I want to execute some raw query, right? So in this case the user environment helps a lot. So here for example I'm going to in the terminal, but not terminal, let's say here it's best I'm giving you from the terminal. So let me active the environment. Oh, sorry, cell. Okay, here if you don't know what is the cell command, please check CLI playlist. I already explained how to use and what is the purpose. Okay, here let's say I want to know like what user I'm using here as a record set. So for that I have to use self.env. Okay, so this is the main thing here. If I enter, you can see this is the environment instance object, right? I'm getting here. Now you can see here from env I have to just use the user, automatically return this user. Okay, what is that username? So directly I can use something like this dot name. So it says Odoo bot, right? Here I want to check one more thing, which this user is the admin user or not. So we can use something like this as a is admin. Uh, sorry, sorry, not the user. Okay, I have to use directly from here self.env, then after is admin, so it says true. Okay, so based on the true or false you have to do some operations here you can do. Then after let's say self.env, then after su means the super user. Okay, so it return as a true. So in case I'm not logged in as a super user, so in that case it will automatically return as a false. In this case also I'm getting also the false. In case when like I'm not having a administrator access rights. All right, after that let's say simple you want to use you want to get only the user ID, then you can simple use the UID. After that you want to know what is the context, right? So it's written as a dictionary format and it's having a lot of informations specifically for the user. Let's say this user is using the language as a en_us language, right? What is the time zone? It's a Europe Brussels time zone. And what is the ID of that user? It's a UID. So like this way you can get the informations of the context. Okay, after that let's say if you want to know about the models, right? Which model you want to use. So for example, cell.order, and if you just enter, so you will get the record set, but this is the blank record set. For example, let's say if I'm using here the record set but it's not installed yet, something like this, right? Cell.order with 2, then it will raise the error message. Why? Because this model is not available in this database, so that's the reason the environment is also not recognized. Okay, after that you can see here, let's say if you want to know about the company, which company the current user is using, so you can use self.env.company, you will get automatically that company. Okay, in case you are working with the multi companies, so in that case you want to know like how many companies this user have access, so you can use companies, right? And here you can see there are 2 companies is there. So let's say a in print a dot name. Okay, so my company is Chicago and my company is San Francisco, right? So these 2 companies this user currently have access, and the current company is this one. All right, after that, let's say here I'm giving you one best example. So here you can see in this student profile we have like some records, you can see, right? This is for the school and this is for the student. Let's say you want to get the record set of this XML ID, right? You can do something like this, self.env.ref. Here in a double quote, first thing is we have to mention the module name and then after that XML ID, and now you can see you will get automatically that record set. In case you want to access the fields directly, you can access the fields like this way, right? So using the ref you will get the XML ID, or let's say the CSV ID, okay, that particular record set. And yes, one more thing is there is a one case. Let's say if you delete, like any user delete from the front end side, right? So that means whenever you try to get the data using the ref, you will not get that record. After that you can use self.env.cr. So the CR means the cursor. So let's say this cursor specifically used to communicate with the Postgres database. Okay, in case you want to fire a insert query, update query, delete query, or select query, right? So based on that you can fire such query using this CR command. So let's say env.cr.execute, in a double quote, let's select star from w student self.env.cr.fetch all. Okay, so like this way you will get the data from the database, right? And yes, one more thing is the context. So if you see we have used something like this, right? Context. Another way is self._context. If you add here underscore and that specific keyword name, you will also get the result. Okay, so that is the main purpose of this env, specifically keyword, right? Because it stores all the logged in users data, and you can, based on here, you will perform some operations. Then after, another is the, let's say, self.env.is system, right? Yeah, so this is the system user. And if you don't want to use like shoe, right, like this, then you can use here dot is super user, something like this. I hope you understood about these topics. So let's check here in this method. Let me comment it out. Now I'm giving you here the basic example. Let me remove all the logs. Let me go to the student. Let me go to here in the school list, and this button is mapped with this method. Okay, this method. So now what I'm trying to do is, once I click to this button, it will automatically print all the print statements, right? So once I click here, oops, we have error message. Spelling mistake. Okay, now you can see here. So this is the print statement of the self, right? You can see here, and this is the current record set of that current model, which is the wb.school. Now here you can see environment. So this is the environment object, and using this env we are trying to get all the data for the current logged in user. Here you can see res.users, right? 2. So 2 is the admin, Michelle admin, and the ID we can directly use using the UID, right? This is the admin user, so that means it's written as a true. This is not the system super user, right? So you can see here I'm getting here false. After that, this is the system, so that's the reason it's written as a true. And then after, you can see both output is same for the context. The thing is, you can directly use a different way to get the data of the context, right? And here you can see current user language is US English, the time zone is the Asia Kolkata, UID is 2, and allowed company's ID is 1 as of now. Okay, what it is I will show you soon. Then after, you can see the cursor, right? The object is, you can see here, and here you can see the company and the companies, right? So this is the current company, and right now the only this user is using having access for the single company. Okay, now let's talk about this company and the companies. Here let me also duplicate the tab. I'm going to settings under the user, not the mark demo but the Michelle admin. Right now you can see default company is San Francisco, but allowed companies is Chicago and the San Francisco, right? So technically this guy have a two companies access rights. Now here, if you see here, right, this my company, if you click here, you can see here the list of companies which having access, right? Here let's say if I'm trying to select both and confirm, so that means I'm getting both companies data here. Right now our model is not dependent on the company, so that means I can access any of the companies this record set. Now here let me clear the logs, and once I click to this button, and now you can see the data and the context getting different. Here you can see the context itself is changed here, right? You can see allowed companies now is 1 and 2, right? And you can see here currently the first priority of the company, right, what I'm using here is the 1. If you compare with the previous output, you will only get the 1, right, not the 1 and 2. So based on the selection here, it will automatically works like that way. So let's say if I'm uncheck the first one and confirm, right, and once I click to this button, now you can see here, you can see the multi companies I'm getting only 2. The current company now is the 1, sorry, 2, right? And here you can see allowed companies is 2. If you compare here with the second last output, you can see allowed companies is 2, like 1 and 2, and the current company, like whatsoever you are trying to do all operations, right? So it falls into this company. And in the context, you can see here 1 and 2, right? So here when we select only second company, so that means the environment also changed based on the companies plus the context itself, right? So like this way you will get the whole data. So now our next session would be how you can modify the environment, okay, how you can also change the user, how you can also change the context, and how you can also change the company. And let's say if your user minimal access rights, right, and still you want to perform some operations, so how you can also bypass all the security access rights, we will see in our next session. So if you have any doubt related to this topic, please comment below and see you in our next session.